Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're shifting gears, leaving theory behind. We're going to strap in for some real-world drama. We're looking at the historical context for the Formula One film Rush.
That's right. We've dug into a 2013 preview piece about it.
Yeah.
And the idea is really to map out the core story, the real stakes behind the movie.
Exactly. What made this particular rivalry so compelling, so cinematic?
Well, you can't really talk about Rush without going back to the 70s. The source calls it the golden age of Formula One racing.
Right, the golden age. Sounds glamorous.
It does, but that phrase kind of papers over the sheer risk involved. This wasn't like F1 today. It was raw power, these incredible machines, and frankly, incredibly dangerous duels. Mortality was, well, it was always there.
And right at the heart of this volatile time, you have this epic rivalry, just legendary, between the British driver James Hunt, very charismatic,
The playboy type.
and the Austrian Niki Lauda, super focused, intense.
Complete opposites.
Yeah.
And their whole dynamic, this clash of personalities and ambition, it all peaked in one specific season.
1976, that's the year it all came to a head.
Yeah, 76 is the dramatic core of the film. It's where their different ways of approaching racing and life, really, were put to the ultimate test. But to get the stakes, you really need to understand the guys themselves. This movie, it's almost less about the racing.
And more about these two clashing egos.
Exactly. It's a study in these, contradictory personalities.
Okay, so let's break that down. James Hunt. He was the archetype, right? The rock star driver.
Totally. Fast, impulsive, loved the good life, lived right on the edge, both on the track and off it. A proper English playboy.
And Lauda.
Lauda was the polar opposite. If Hunt was chaos, Lauda was control, calculation.
The methodical one.
Very pragmatic, almost like an engineer behind the wheel. Driving was a science to him, something precise, repeatable. The sources really hammer this contrast home because, well, that's the narrative engine. Romanticism versus rationalism, basically.
At 200 miles an hour. So if you're going to make a film about that, about these intense, clashing personalities, you need the right people behind the camera, people who get psychological drama.
Absolutely. And the team they assemble tells you a lot. You had Ron Howard directing.
Top director. He knows how to handle big, true stories, make them feel, well, human and accessible.
Right. But the real clue, for me anyway, that this was going to be about the people and not just the cars, was the screenwriter, Peter Morgan.
Peter Morgan. Okay, yeah. At that time, he was really famous for Frost Nixon, wasn't he?
Exactly. And think about Frost Nixon. It wasn't really about politics in the end.
No, it was about those two men, that confrontation, ambition, guilt, pride, all boiled down.
That's the connection. Morgan took that same approach to Rush. It's structured almost like Frost Nixon in a way.
How so?
Well, you've got these two brilliant individuals, Hunt and Lauda, trapped in this pressure cooker environment, the F1 circuit.
Yeah.
And they're locked in this battle, trying to dominate each other, not just physically on the track, but mentally too.
Okay, I see that. Lauda, the calculator, needing to beat Hunt to prove his control was superior.
Yeah, kind of like Nixon trying to control the narrative, maybe.
And Hunt, the impulsive natural talent, needing to beat Lauda to show that, flair could beat cold logic.
Morgan built the whole drama on that opposition, that binary.
Wow. Okay, framing a sports rivalry like that as a deep dive into personality, that's why people were so excited back in 2013 when this preview came out.
Definitely. It elevates it beyond just a racing movie.
The original writer of the source piece mentioned having fond memories of the danger and excitement of 70s F1.
The nostalgia factor.
But they immediately paired that with excitement about the top-notch cast and crew.
It shows you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Even then, before release, the film was set for September 13th, 2013, I think.
Yeah, that was the date mentioned.
Even then, people knew the human story was the key. That's what made it feel like a potential hit.
Okay, let's really zoom in on that central conflict then. The 1976 season. Why that year? What made it stand out?
Because 76 wasn't just competitive. It got, well, existential feels like the right word.
Existential. How?
The sources keep mentioning the danger and excitement of 70s F1. We need to understand what that danger really meant. This was before all the modern safety features. No carbon fiber monocoques protecting the drivers like today.
Right, they were basically sitting in, what, aluminum tubs?
Pretty much. Aluminum tubs packed with fuel. If you crashed, fire was a huge immediate risk, often catastrophic.
God, the mortality rate back then, it was just
Yeah.
staggering compared to now.
Astronomical. And the drivers knew it. It wasn't some abstract possibility. It was a real likelihood. you might not finish your career.
So when the preview says Hunt and Lauda went all out to secure the world championship in '76.
The stakes weren't just about winning. It was about putting your life on the line. Every single race, every corner, knowing your rival was right there, pushing you, maybe forcing you to take that one extra risk, the potentially fatal risk.
So Peter Morgan didn't even need to invent tension. It was inherent in the history of that season.
Exactly. History handed him the ultimate drama on a plate. It forced both men, the methodical one and the showman, to face mortality head-on, all while locked in this fight for supremacy. That raw contrast, pushed to the absolute physical limit.
Yeah.
That's what makes '76 so gripping, even just reading about it.
And to bring that historical weight, that intensity to the screen, you obviously need actors who can really embody these guys.
Bruhl, yeah.
The sources highlighted the casting. They mentioned the actors looked quite a bit like the real drivers.
Which is pretty important for a biopic, right?
Yep.
For that authenticity.
So playing James Hunt, the flamboyant one.
Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
And he really nailed that kind of charismatic, slightly wild energy.
And for Niki Lauda, the intense, disciplined one.
Daniel Brühl.
Yeah.
Who was just fantastic capturing that focus.
Yeah, the preview specifically said they had more than a passing resemblance, which helps ground it.
Definitely.
And I liked this detail. They even called out the authentic '70s hairstyles.
Ah, yes. Always a good sign when they get the hair right. Shows attention to detail.
It does. And beyond the leads, the source also mentioned the supporting cast, Natalie Dormer and Olivia Wilde.
Right. Excellent actors, providing that extra depth around the main rivalry.
And actually, that mention of the supporting cast brings up a really interesting point about who the film appealed to.
Oh, yeah.
It's proof that the human element always draws people in. We found this great little comment in the original article's discussion section from a reader called Jace. And he basically admitted he was worried about his blood pressure just seeing Natalie Dormer and Olivia Wilde listed in the cast. And get this, he said he wasn't even a racing fan, typically, but his girlfriend was a petrol head.
Ah, I see where this is going.
So he called the movie a great excuse to go see it.
That's brilliant. It's a small thing, but it says so much, doesn't it?
Totally. It perfectly illustrates how the film worked on multiple levels.
Yeah, it wasn't just selling the speed and the crashes. It was selling star power, sure, but also this intense historical drama, maybe some romance implied by the casting, and just the power of these personalities.
The human story is what grabs the people who wouldn't normally watch a sports film.
It proves Morgan's focus on the egos, the ambition, the rivalry. That was the hook. That's what pulled the wider audience in.
So putting it all together, this deep dive really confirms the creative team knew exactly what they were doing, Howard and Morgan.
They're very deliberate. This wasn't just meant to be a loud, fast racing flick.
No, they saw the potential in the story itself, this incredible, true narrative.
Built around these two perfectly opposite men, fighting for their lives, literally and metaphorically in that crazy, dangerous '76 season.
It's a fantastic mix, isn't it? The history, the danger, the clashing personalities, and then the specific talent chosen to bring that psychological battle to life.
Yeah, we've covered the era, the danger, the drivers, the creative vision.
Which kind of leads us back to something the original source writer John McArthur mentioned about himself.
What was that?
He said his own movie tastes were really diverse. Like, he loved film noir, sci-fi, but also stuff like Notting Hill.
Okay, quite a range, rom-coms to sci-fi.
So it raises this interesting question, doesn't it? When a story about something as specific, as technical, as dangerous as Formula One in the '70s, when that story appeals to people who like Notting Hill just as much as people who like sci-fi, what's the core thing going on there? What's the fundamental human conflict, the thing Peter Morgan tapped into, that lets this story resonate so far beyond just the racetrack?
That's a great question. It suggests, maybe, that any really powerful story, if it digs into universal themes like ambition, sacrifice, rivalry, mortality, then the setting, whether it's a racetrack or outer space or, a bookshop in London, it almost becomes secondary. It's really about the timeless human struggles underneath. It makes you think, what do we actually value more? That calculated control or that wild, untamed talent?
A powerful thought to leave people with. Reflecting on Hunt versus Lauda and what their story really tells us.